So your Rolex is up for service. What do you need to do and when do you need to do it? So Rolex's service plan is normally every 4 or 5 years. Some guys may know that, some of you guys may not. So every 4 or 5 years, your watch is due for service. What do you need to do? First thing, if you bought it off an independent dealer like me or a grey market dealer, you may not have the knowledge that you need to service it at a Rolex authorized dealer. So how do you do that? First thing, if you've got a local Rolex AD, you can physically take your watch in there, you can book it in with them, they will send it off to London and they will come back with a quote for your service. Price wise, a Rolex service is around $395 for a standard movement, $495 for a more complicated movement, i.e. a Rolex Daytona, something with more plates in the movement, quite more complicated. And then you've got the additionals. So there's things like, is the crown damaged? Is the glass damaged? Is the bezel marked? These things are all add-ons. So by the time you've come out of Rolex with a service, it's going to cost you on average around £500 to £800. The turnaround time is 6 to 8 weeks. So you will be without your watch for that time, but they will quote you for it before, so you know there's no hidden extras. They will also valet the watch for you and they will polish the watch for you so it'll come back looking like new. So this can be done at your local Rolex AD, or if you're in London down south, you can take it in St James's. That's the official Rolex service centre in the UK. You can go in, drop your watch off, book it in directly, so you don't need an AD as a third party. Take it in, book it in, they'll email you or phone you within a few days or a week. You get your quote back, agree the work, and then you can collect your watch direct from St James's or your nearest local Rolex AD. So if you've bought a fully sealed watch that you've literally not worn, or a watch that is not stickered but you have physically not worn it and put it away as a commodity or an investment, then it doesn't need servicing every 4 to 5 years. Why? Because the movement has not been working. Compare it to a vehicle where you've had the vehicle sat there, you've not actually used the mechanical parts. The same with the watch. If you've not worn it, it will not need service every 4 to 5 years. We've had watches from clients from the 70s and 80s that have not been serviced for 30, 40 years. They are still working, they are still keeping good time, but the only problem with that is they do wear parts. So this is the problem. They have oil in the movement. So all Rolex watches have a lubricated movement. After time, that lubrication will dry up and then you start to wear parts. So although your watch may be keeping good time and running regular timekeeping, you do have to have it serviced because over time you will start to wear parts and parts cost money. So every 4 or 5 years, get your watch serviced. Go to an accredited independent dealer or authorized dealer or to St James's direct and just make sure that you are having it serviced regular. Unworn watches? No, absolutely not. It's a waste of money. The watch hasn't worked, the movement hasn't worked, it's under no duress, the parts will not have done any work whatsoever, so do not waste your money. And plus, if it's an unworn fully sealed watch, you don't want the case back taken off it, you don't want to devalue it, it is a full-on commodity. Keep it in its original condition, fully sealed, fully unworn, and then just keep it as it is.